Hey everyone, this is Joe Bushnell of the Social Media Marketing Academy.com. Today I have with me a really great guest, Dawn McGruer. Dawn, thank you very much for being with me today.
No problem. It's nice to join you today to talk about social media.
Dawn, thank you very much for taking the time to do this with me. And you've got quite extensive background in social media. So how did you first of all get into it?
Well, about 10 years ago, I set up Aurora Marketing, which is a digital marketing agency. And sort of 10 years ago, and even still in some cases now, things like email marketing were not used with businesses so much. They were kind of coming forward a little bit more in the retail sector. But again, business to business and some traditional areas like accountants, solicitors, still weren't using them. So set the agency up, which was called Aurora Marketing. We are based in Wilmslow, Cheshire, but have always operated on a UK-wide basis. And that basically evolved because we started doing all things digital, so anything to do with web. And then we were asked to do an online social network for one of our local exhibitions, Business Northwest. Huge exhibition, and as we started compiling that network, we went from having our own clients and having, say, 500 people using our new site that we'd set up, which was businessconsort.com. And they basically drove what we did with that site, because as it grew to 20,000, 50,000, etc., and that sort of public forum for the exhibition had ended, we then had to obviously think, well, what we're going to do now with it, because it was a great opportunity to show the digital aspect and obviously the benefits that can be attached for business. But obviously we then wanted to do more events. So Business Consort was formed off of the back of Aurora Marketing. And then really sort of in 2008, Business Consort sort of became so big, it is sort of, I suppose, encapsulated Aurora Marketing's activities. So now we basically do everything on the digital consultancy, but have grown into a networking event and training business.
Great, okay, and you've got some sort of digital courses where people can learn social media as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things, I was recognised last year for my efforts in social media from the Royal Society of Arts, which was a massive privilege, because we've been working so hard with businesses, not just on a strategy level, but we use digital marketing ourselves. So we've been teaching the practical aspects of actually applying it, but not just in a grey area of marketing. We've really focused on, how is it going to impact on revenues? How can people get a return on investment by doing this? So, yes, I mean, we're the premier social media academy, and we do corporate networking events for decision makers across the UK, predominantly sort of London and the Northwest. But we've added another string to our bow with the Academy 2 years ago, and now we're accredited centre under the Chartered Institute of Marketing. So being a study centre that can actually give CPD hours, continuous professional development, and also offer professional digital qualifications has been a huge step, because really where the economy is now, digital media is the number one.
Absolutely. So Dawn, you've got, you can tell that you've got a lot of experience with social media, and which is why I got in touch with you. I wanted to speak to you about it and see your view of social media, basically. So the first question I had really was, how does it help small businesses?
Well, I suppose there's two key benefits that people maybe don't initially sort of look at. Number one is there's no monopoly with social media. You can have a huge global brand, and not to name a specific organization, but one of the big financial institutions has less Facebook fans than we do. I mean, certainly we do not have the budget to compete with them, but it shows that there's a massive gap, and any size of business can really take up the opportunity with social media, because what it's done is it's broken down the barriers. So whereas maybe we'd have to go onto a website and cold call people, social media has introduced this new concept called warm calling. So we can use products like LinkedIn and these tools to get introductions, and we can instantly see who in our network is connected to, say, the procurement manager within a specific business that was our target market. Now that has changed things massively for, say, even one-man band right the way through to global. The second area is obviously these are free resources, and assuming people do the right thing and actually put a social media strategy together that's planned and measurable, then the resources needed to manage it, you're only really looking at 10 minutes a day, plus maybe some extra work around if you're doing a specific campaign.
Sure. So because of those two reasons, Dawn, do you think that pretty much every business should be on social media now, or is there some exceptions where it doesn't really matter?
I personally say yes, every business should be. There's one key area that people should consider is if we imagine our websites on the web, they're all sort of gauged in terms of their popularity. So say on Google, the ranking, you've got #1 would be the most popular site. Well, the social media networks, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, are the most popular. There is no other marketing tool that can challenge them. But what that interestingly does is as soon as you set up a network profile, then you instantly zoom up the rankings. So even for a search engine optimization and a visibility aspect, yes, there is no exception. Every business would have that benefit.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you there, Dawn. So, there's obviously a lot of things we could talk about with social media. And one of the things which I think is important is keeping the audience engaged so that, rather than just posting updates and that kind of thing and kind of getting no responses. But that's the thing that a lot of people struggle with. How do we actually keep the audience engaged and get it kind of interactive, a bit of conversation going on?
Well, I suppose that there's a case study I can kind of give. To my diploma students, we looked at 2 aspects of posting content. And so, for instance, I wanted to say, right, Business Consort, it's a social media academy, we do this, 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 and this. And my ultimate goal is to get people to go and visit my website. So I'm putting a post out there to drive traffic. I could quite simply type that into the post. And we tried it, and we put the web link on, etc. And we got no comments, no likes, no shares. So there's no engagement there. So I took the same information and produced it into a video. Nice, happy video with the world spinning, showing that we want to take social media worldwide. And weirdly enough, because we're visual creatures, that went to 1.4 million people. People shared it because it had a viral interest to it. So what I would always say is make it light-hearted and fun. Yes, it can be business to business, but we all have a sense of humor. If you can make it as engaging as possible by having pictures, videos, interactivity, and always have a call to action, get them to do something so you can monitor it. Because at the end of the day, the aim of the game is to get people to comment, like, and share. And that will achieve all the objectives that we want with social media, which is obviously getting a sort of a growing network, but also bringing new people in all the time. And the more we can converse with our audience, the better. So there's probably one other tip I would say about content is if you are growing your network and you're noticing that people are coming to connect with you, say, on LinkedIn, instead of just actually saying, yes, I'll connect with you and putting them into the pot, what I personally would do is to recommend engaging at the point of connection. And what I mean by that is by welcoming them to your network, making them feel special and individual, not sending them an email saying, I'm Business Consort, this is everything we do, because it's a bit like attending a business meeting and delivering a proposal before we've even had the fact finding. So I would say, I personally, if someone connects with me on LinkedIn, I say, thanks for connecting. Here's a free copy of my social media guide. And I ask a question. How are you using social media within your business? And 80% of those people reply. Now, I then know how they fit into my network, and that's when you start getting into the realms of things like lead generation. So they would be my 2 key audience engagement tips.
Okay. And how often would you say that we should be posting updates on the social networks? Is there any rule of thumb that you go by?
Yeah, I mean, I try and sort of, if someone's starting off in social media, I always say, look, to try and post 2 pieces of content for every 500 in your network. Those 2 pieces should be split into what we call the 50-50 rule. 50% all about your business. So say, for instance, I was promoting a Facebook course, I'd say, did you know 4% of all photos ever taken are hosted on Facebook? Why not find out more? Come on my course and put a web link in. It's all about me selling myself. The other 50%, I always say, should be industry related. So what I would do is post a question such as, what's your perception of social media in the business world? So I'm drawing people into a discussion forum all about my industry. So again, it's the right people. I'm attracting the correct target market.
And do you have any tips on creating the content itself, Dawn? Like, a lot of people struggle for what to write for a blog post or what to write as a status update.
We have a guideline of sort of a couple of tips. The easiest way to do it is work on a week-by-week basis. If you just go and print off a week planner from your computer, look at what you're doing within your business and the activities that you want to promote, work it back through that week, and pick a topic per day. So for one day I might talk about everything Twitter, one day LinkedIn, one thing Facebook, and then maybe one thing social media. So the thing is try and separate it out, make it clear in your own head. You can schedule a certain amount of these posts if they're generic, things like, sign up for our newsletter or enter a competition, something that's happening all the time. And you can use a tool called Sprout Social, which will not only help you obviously monitor how you're doing in terms of engagement and comment, liking, and sharing, it will allow you to actually plan some of these activities ahead. I think the most interesting benchmark I can give people in terms of where they should be aiming for the content side of things and engagement is if they use something like Sprout Social, which is, I think you get a 30-day free trial and it's about $9 a month thereafter, is it gives you two scores, one being influence, so that's how many people you're reaching, and one engagement, how many people are comment, liking, sharing. And if they can get to over 70 out of 100, then they will notice that their social networking is a bit more self-satisfying. And they'll also see that, it is working for them. They're actually getting business on the back of it, not just brand visibility.
Sure. So is that your social media analytics tool of choice as well, Dawn?
It is, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an American tool. I think it works great. At the end of the day, we want to know how many people are engaged. We don't, I suppose, for me, I'm not that interested in, unique page views and impressions and things like that. I just want to know how many people have acted on what I've said, what did they do with it, did they disseminate that post to their network, if so, how many people read it. And I suppose the aim of the game is not just to look at all the sort of stats behind it, you just want to see the call to action, as with most marketing activities.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Okay, so my final question is kind of three questions in one, actually, Dawn. You did mention earlier that three of the biggest networks are Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Absolutely,
so I was wondering if you could give me one tip for each of those networks, sort of your best tip for Facebook, best tip for Twitter, and best tip for LinkedIn, please.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Well, Facebook is an easy one. It's one that people miss all the time. With a Facebook fan page, I would always recommend customizing your username. Now, what they do is they put a restriction on. You have to reach 25 fans before you can customize it. And basically what it means is we all have a unique URL, which is where our Facebook page would be hosted. If we don't customize it to our own branding, we will just simply be listed on Google as letters and numbers. So our visibility will be low. So make sure that you get to your 25 fans and you customize your username so you've got a nice clean URL. So for instance, mine is facebook.com/business consort networking, rather than having your letters and numbers. Twitter, my next one would be, it sounds simple, but the way that Twitter works is that you really should be following people to try and get them to follow back. So if you haven't already gone and followed people, how can you expect people to follow you if they don't know who you are? Go and follow the maximum, which is 2,000. You'll see that maybe some people are following more, and it's because they release your ability to follow more people as you gain followers, so that you didn't do what one man tried to do and follow absolutely every person on Twitter, which it would be ridiculous. Now, lastly, on LinkedIn, I would say instead of maybe starting a group if you're new to social media, groups are great if you've got a specific requirement, but I personally would go and join the maximum amount of groups allowed, which is 52. Go and search out the target market, so find every group within your target market, and instead of just being obviously able to post to your own network, you can start posting to a group. And some of the groups on there have got millions. So this is a good tip of obviously communicating with the right people, but pulling through new people all the time to connect with and getting good visibility.
Brilliant, Dawn. That's three brilliant tips there. Thank you very much for that. So, Dawn, obviously within half an hour or so, we can't cover everything that you know, but I'm sure the listeners would love to know everything that you do know about social media. So how can they get more of your information?
Really easy. If they go to businessconsort.com, C-O-N-S-O-R-T, or they can give us a call, free phone, 0800 334 5784. They can have a look around on the website. They can see all the online training we do and also face-to-face. We cover every topic from Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all aspects within the digital marketing mix. One thing I would like to mention that has been particularly popular for us is we now train the digital marketing diploma. We are the only people who are delivering it fully online. It takes 12 weeks to do, and then you have your professional qualification, and there's an array of benefits. So check out our website, and I hope to be training you all soon.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you very much for that, Dawn. I really appreciate that. We'll include a link to your site just underneath this interview when people are listening, so they can just click straight through. So, yeah.
One last thing I would like to mention is for anybody who would like some more information on social media, we are offering a free social media guide. Just go to our website and go to the About Us page, and there's a few of my own tips and techniques on there to help you on your way.
Dawn, thank you so much for that. Thank you very much for the interview, and thank you for the free, for the extra free tips that you can give on your website as well.
No problem. It's a pleasure. Thanks very much for that.